Welcome student. Hope you all are safe in your pandemic situation, and sorry for uploading my video because in this pandemic situation I have also suffered from somehow I have also suffered. So today we will start our new video, and repeatedly or with the course of time I will upload my recent videos. So starting with the question number 61, the question is, a magnetic circuit is applied with a current that changes at a rate of 5 ampere per second. So rate of change of current is given. Then the circuit has an inductance of 2 Henry. Inductance is given 2 Henry. Then the self-induced EMF. The question is to find out the induced EMF. Okay, to find out the induced EMF. What is the value of induced EMF? So the question comes from that if we are having one solenoid, and your conductor is wound upon that. Like that, okay, and supply is given. So in this case, if you can find out some amount of EMF will be there, some amount of voltage will be there. Okay, so that voltage can be find out the formula. E is equal to minus L di by dt. Okay, so the L is your inductance, the value is given here. The inductance value is 2 Henry, and di by dt is the rate of change of current. Okay, so rate of change of current, rate means per second. Anything rate of change means it is change per second. Okay, so the di by dt value will be 5 ampere. So putting this value, your minus L is 2 into di by dt is 5, it will be minus 10 volt. Okay, so this is your required answer. Okay, so from these 4 options, minus 10 volt, for these all our options are there. So the first option is the correct choice of the answer. Okay, so next question. So come to the question number 62. So the question is the annual load factor of a generating station. Okay, so it is that the load factor of a generating station is dash. So this is one your simple definition. So the options are your number of unit actually supplied for your divided by maximum possible demand into 8760, and number of unit actually supplied for your divided by maximum possible demand, then actual unit supplied for your by maximum possible demand into 8760, the number of unit actually supplied for your by maximum possible demand. So for the load factor, the formula is for load factor is your, if I will say the formula, load factor is equal to your unit generated or divided by your maximum demand. Okay, so this is the formula. Unit generated by maximum demand is your load factor. So the question is load factor for a one annual load factor, means for 1 year it is asked. So for 1 year, if you want to find out the load factor, that means annual load factor for T hour. For T hour, time is specified here for 1 year. So for 1 year, if you will say for 1 year, it will be your 1 year will be your having 12 months, and each month is having your 30 days, and each day is having your 24 hours. So if you solve this one, okay, simply you can find out unit generated. This will be calculated for T hour also, for T hour, and this is also for T hour. Okay, so if you find out that value, then it will be your maximum demand into 8760 into 8760 will be the value, maximum demand value for T hour, and unit generated per T hour means unit generated per year. You can also write down here unit generated per year. Okay, so this will similar to your question number, similar to your answer number, first answer number A. So this will be your correct choice. So moving to the next question. Come to the next question, question number 63. The question is, when the supply to the excitation fail, when the supply to the excitation fails, it is fails, the synchronous generator acts as dash. So the machine is synchronous generator. Okay. So when the supply fail, that means it fails its excitation. When the excitation fails, then the synchronous generator and that machine will not run as synchronous generator. It will act as your asynchronous machine. It will act as your asynchronous machine. Okay, it will act as your asynchronous machine because the synchronization fell. That synchronization will fail here. Okay, that means whenever it will fail its synchronizing, then the machine will act as, the options are there: synchronous generator, induction generator, synchronous motor and induction motor. From these four options, your option number B will be the correct answer. It will act as your induction generator. Whenever it will fail its excitation, it will act as your induction generator. Okay. Okay, moving to the next question. So coming to question number 64, the question is, which of the following voltage range is used in medium transmission line? Okay. So from the given question, we have to segregate, we have to divide the voltage range. Okay. And the voltage range for your medium transmission line, for your medium transmission line. The options are different, options are there. So before going to the options, I will just check that what are the transmission line are there. Okay. So in our system, if I will say the transmission line, so in our system we are having three types of transmission line basically. One is short transmission line, then medium transmission line, then long transmission line. Three transmission lines are there. So the three transmission lines, these are divided according to your voltage range as well as according to distance. So for your easy remembrance, you can remember the transmission line according to first your distance. So for the distance, it is your up to 50 kilometer. So within 50 kilometer, whatever the length of the transmission line is there, these transmission lines are called your short transmission line. Okay. Then medium transmission line. So medium transmission line, the length is 50 to your 150 kilometer. Length is 50 to 150 kilometer. So this is your medium transmission line. Then comes to long transmission line. Now for the long transmission line, the distance is above 150 kilometer. So above 150 kilometer, it is called your long transmission line. Okay. But the question is the voltage range. So we have to know the voltage range. So for the voltage range for your short transmission line, it is your up to 20 kV. And for your medium transmission line, it is from 20 kV to your 100 kV. And for your long transmission line, it is above 100 kV. Okay. So remember student, this is most important, and these all data are important data. You have to remember the data. This may come in any other exam also. This may come in other style of a question. This according to voltage and it is there. According to distance also it may ask. Okay. So for that thing you have to remember the first the distance 50 to 150, then above 150, then 20 to 100, then above 100. So only three data, only three numbers you have to remember. One is 50, then 150. Yes, then 50, 150, then 20, then 100. Only you have to remember this one. it is for kilometer, this is for kilovolt. Okay, then you can remember all these things. Okay, so the question is according to the voltage range for your medium transmission line. So for a medium transmission line we are having the data for your 20 kV to 100 kV. So look at here, the second question, or sorry, second bit, it is there 20 to 100 kV. So this is your correct choice. Okay, so moving to the next question. So coming to question number 65, the question is the law involves in the expression E equal to minus d phi by dt. E equal to minus and d phi by dt are, these are the laws here: Faraday's law, Lenz's law, Coulomb's law, and Ampere law. So here in the options your 4 laws are there. One is Faraday's law, then comes Lenz's law, then Coulomb's law, then your Ampere law. So before going to the answer, I want to discuss about what are the laws. Okay, so what is your Faraday's law? If we say your Faraday is having your 2 law, okay, law number 1, law number 2. So for your first law of Faraday says that whenever the change of magnetic flux occur, your change of magnetic flux occur, then EMF will induced. That means I can say that if you are having this type of your conductor are there, and you are having one north and south pole magnet, and you are moving the magnet because your flux lines are like that. Okay, so these are flux lines. Whenever you are moving the magnet to the conductor, this is the conductor, you can get here EMF. You can get here EMF. Okay, whenever the flux changes with the conductor, means when the flux link with the conductor, whenever you are taking the magnet nearer to the conductor and away from the conductor, then some flux lines are related to here. So whenever the flux line changes, then you can get your EMF, you can get your EMF-E. Okay, okay. Then that EMF value is the amount of EMF. This is your first law. Then second law, what is the second law? And the amount of EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux. That means it is your E is directly proportional to d phi by dt. E is equal to directly proportional to d phi by dt, rate of change of flux. Okay, then comes to a Lenz law. So what the Lenz law say? According to Lenz law, whatever your EMF produced, it will oppose the cause, oppose its cause. Means due to which the EMF will produce, it will oppose that one. So due to that, we can say your E is equal to minus d phi by dt. Okay, another thing I have left here, whatever your rate of change of flux is there, it is due to only for your one conductor. If you are having number of conductor, then your EMF value will be your n d phi by dt. Okay, so it will be your n d phi by dt. E is directly proportional to n d phi by dt. So what is your n? N is the number of turn of the coil. So similarly, this expression will be there. It will be your minus n d phi by dt. So this is the expression for your EMF in your coil. Okay. So this expression is related to this one. So you can get your answer here. This is your answer. So what again discuss about your Coulomb's law. What the Coulomb's law say? According to Coulomb's law, if there is having one charge is there, if charge is there Q1, another charge is there, it is Q2, and the distance between these two charges is d, then the force exerted in the charge or force exerted is F is directly proportional to your Q1 and Q2, product of the two charges, and it is inversely proportional to square of the distance. Okay, so finally you can write your F is directly proportional to Q1 Q2 divided by d square. This is for your Coulomb. Then comes to Ampere law. What is the Ampere law? Now Ampere law say, your Ampere law, it is your, this law is related to your flux and current. Okay, so the rate of change of flux means you can say that these both are related to each other. If you increase the value of current, then your flux increases. If you increase the value of flux, then current also increases. Okay, so this is all about the law. But the question is here, question was that the law involves in the expression E equal to minus d phi by dt, and for the minus d phi by dt, we are getting your Faraday's law, your d phi by dt, and the minus sign is due to Lenz's law. So the correct choice is your option number A. Moving to the next question. So this is the question number 66. So the question is, the output of the given logic circuit represent the gate in dash. Okay, so we are having four options, four gate options are there, and this is the logic circuit, and the logic circuit is having one type of gate in every step. The gate is same, and that gate is your NOR gate. Okay, so we are having four types of gate. So basically the four gates are your AND gate. The symbol of your AND gate is like that, AND gate. So if I will put the input A B, the output will be A dot B. Then OR gate, A B, the output will be A plus B. Then your NAND gate, A B, the output will be your A dot B bar. Then your NOR gate, the output will be your A plus B bar. Okay, so these all are your gates. So if you will solve this one, this will be your A, and as it is your which gate? This is your NOR gate. So the output will be your A bar. It is your B, again NOR gate, the output will be your B bar. Whenever you want to find out the output of this gate, your input is A and B, A bar, B bar are the input, then you can say that this will be your A bar plus B bar whole bar. Okay, these two are input and this is your output of the gate. Then if you solve this one, you will find out this is A dot B. Okay, now if you solve this gate, the value will be your, here the value will be your A dot B whole bar. Okay, so this is your final output. Now compare the final output with the four logic gates, logic gate output. So this output will be similar to this one. This output will be similar to this one, and this is the which gate? This is the NAND gate. Okay, so the answer will be option number A. Okay, so moving to the next question, question number 67. So comes to number 67. So here the question is, a synchronous motor runs at 600 rpm. Okay, so speed is given 600 rpm, which is which of the following case is true? So here cases are P and F are given, your pole and frequency are given, and the option is the question is 600 rpm speed of a synchronous motor. So speed of synchronous motor means you can say this is your synchronous speed. Synchronous speed, it is said your Ns is equal to 120 into F divided by P. This is the formula for synchronous speed. So Ns represents the synchronous speed, F is the supply frequency, and P is the number of pole. So here the pole and frequencies values are given. So if I will say that 600, this will be 600 is equal to your 120, f is not there, f by p. Okay, so if we say that, because this is the question of trial and error question, this is of your trial and error question, you have to put the value and find out the answer. Okay, so that is your 600 means you can say, if we solve this one, 5 or I will just simplify the 60 by here 12 is equal to f by p. So what is the value of f by p, so that you can get this one. So 60 by p, it will be your 5. 12 5 is 60. So then put the value from the first option, p is 12 and it's 60. So f is equal to 60 divided by 12. So directly we are getting 5 here. Okay, so luckily the first option is the correct here, but instead of finding your first option correct, if all the options are there, we have to, by hit and trial method, we have to choose, or we have to put the value of p and f in each and every step. That may be any answer for your last option also. So as here we are getting 5 from the first option, the answer is your option number A. Okay, so similar questions you can get. Okay, come to question number 68. So come to the question number 68. The question is the 3-layer standard wire. 3-layer standard wire. The number of strand in the first layer, second layer and third layer. First layer, second layer and third layer. So the standard conductor will be like that. Take that layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3. So here some conductor are there, or standards are there. Here also some standard will be there. And in the last layer also one standard. Okay, so in this figure, okay, so if you find out the formula is n is equal to 3x square minus 3x plus 1. So for the layer 1, if you find out that for layer 1, number of conductor will be your 3 into 1 minus 3 into 1 plus 1. So it will be your 1. So you can say n1 will be your 1, n1 will be your 1. So for the layer 2, you can say it is 3 into 2 square will be 4, minus 3 into 2, 3 into 2, it will be your 3 into 2, it will be 6, then plus 1. So this will be your 3 4 is 12 minus 6, this one will be your 7. So the number of standard n2 is equal to the conductor of layer 2 minus the conductor of layer 1. Conductor of layer 2 minus layer 1. So 7 minus 1 will be your 6. So n2 will be your 6. Okay. Then for layer 3. For the layer 3, it will be 3 into 3 square will be your 9, minus 3 into 3 will be 9, yes, 3 into 9 plus 1. So this will be your 3 into 3, it is 27 minus 9 plus 1 will be your 18 plus 1, 19. Okay, 19. Then what will be the n3? If we find out the value of n3, your n3 will be your total number of conductor is 19 minus the total number of conductor of your layer 2. Okay, so it will be your 7, so 12. So n3 is your 12. Okay, so for the layer 1, for the layer 2 6, for the layer 3 12 number of standard are there. So 1 6 and 12. 1 6 12, 1 6 12, this is your 1 6 12. So answer number C will be the correct answer. So moving to the next question. Coming to the 69th question. The question is the power factor of an AC circuit is dash. Okay, and we know that in our AC circuit the impedance of power factor is much more, and for the AC circuit we are having the load, resistance, inductance and capacitance, and if I will draw the triangle, if you draw the impedance triangle, the impedance triangle will be like that. And this value is your R. This is your XL, or you can say XC. XL or XC, whatever the value. And this will be the impedance value Z. This is your theta. So R is the resistance, XL and XC is the inductive reactance. And XC is the capacitive reactance, and Z is the impedance, and R is your resistance. Okay. So power factor is denoted as cos phi or theta, whatever you take. So the cos theta value will be your, if it is a right angle triangle, the cos theta value, this will be your base, this will be your perpendicular P, and this is your hypotenuse H. So for the cos angle, cos theta, your trigonometric formula is B by H. So the B value will be your R and H value will be Z. So cos theta will be your R by Z. This is the expression for cos theta or power factor. So from these four options, your option D is the right choice. So question number 70, this is the last question of this class. So the question is, dash is not a component of thermal power plant. Okay, in our electrical system we have covered number of thermal power plant, like your hydro, number of power plant is your hydro, thermal and nuclear. So here some components are there. One component is economizer, then reactor, then boiler, then chimney. So first of all, I will discuss all the working of the component, or what are the component I am just saying. Then you can identify that which component is related to thermal power plant or not. So economizer. So economizer, what is the economizer? And this is present in your thermal power plant, where your water, whatever the water is put into the thermal power plant, it should be preheated for your increasing of the efficiency. So this is present in your thermal power plant. Then reactor is the part where your fusion reaction takes place. It is related to your nuclear power plant, where your bombarding of your atoms takes place and huge amount of energy release. This is related to your nuclear power plant. Then boiler, where your boiling of the water takes place and huge amount of steam will be produced. This is your related to thermal power plant. And chimney, where after combustion of your coal, whatever the flue gas comes out, this will be finally get out from, or the flue gas will be carried from your boiler to boiler, and it carries from different stages, like your economizer, air preheater, okay, superheater. So different stage it will be flow, and finally it will get out through your chimney. So it is also related to your thermal power plant. So the only part is your reactor, which is not related to your thermal power plant. So this is not related. So the option is, it is not a component. This is not a component. Okay. So the option B is the correct choice for this question. Okay. Thank you, students. I am in this video or in these classes, I am just trying to cover up all the SSC JEE question answer, and I hope it will be beneficial for your future growth. It will be beneficial for your any other competitive exam, whatever you are facing. It will be beneficial for this also. Thank you all.